Hi everybody, it's Paul Hyde's Sci-fi review here again. I'm going to do something different this time. I'm going to go back to the year of 1975 and talk about it. I was 10 at the time. Um, Going back to February, it was my 10th birthday, and my parents took me and my two brothers to Woolwich and go and see Star Wars, although it came out in 1977. But we went to see it in 1978. Loved the film, still love Star Wars even today. Um, Film wise, that year Superman came out and also Grease. Obviously Superman with Christopher Reeve, and then Grease with John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John. Um, Obviously, on the music side, they tended to dominate the charts, um, um, with "You're the One I Want," Sandy, um, and Some Lovin'. Um, they really were the main highlights of the year. But music-wise, there was a lot of good music around back in '78. Disco was still going strong. Um, the Bee Gees dominated it because obviously they had their film from Saturday Night Fever, again starring John Travolta, and obviously they had Night Fever and Staying Alive. They were quite reasonably well-known hits. Um, they did quite well. They were sort of dominant. Even Andy Gibb was in the charts as well while he was still before he sadly passed away. So the Bee Gees were really quite dominant after one thing really. Um, Obviously you had the Police with So Lonely, or as we would call it, Sulawesi, Sulawesi, because that's what it sounded like back in 1978. You had Blondie, um, you had the Rolling Stones, um, you even had Darts, um, you also had Clout with Substitute, and you had Dire Straits come along with the King of Sultan, which was their first album, brilliant album indeed. Um, Boney M with a Christmas #1, um, with they were number one. In fact, they had the double #1 actually. It was two double. It was a like double A side, so they basically dominated that. But in fact, Boney M had some very good hits in 1978. They had Rasputin, Rivers of Babylon. They did really, really well. On the TV front, Dallas first started way back in '78. Was pretty good. Um, Sport was it was quite a good year for sport. Obviously, it was World Cup year. England didn't qualify, but Scotland did, and they brought out a song because Scotland was the best football team. As Scotland were going off, it was as if Scotland got right behind. All the fans got behind them, and there was a massive send off for them. They even went to Hampden Park, and there was a massive send off from Hampden Park, and the coach was sending them up as they were going. to the airport. So it was a big sending off there. Cause all that hype. Um, it sort of backfired on really. Um, Unfortunately, well, I think their best game of the World Cup was when they beat Holland 3-1, and a certain Archie Gemmill scored what I still say today is one of the best goals you will see in a World Cup. Um, Away from and Argentina did win the World Cup, but I think there was a lot of cheating going on. Instead of both the semi-finals kicking off at the same time, or the final group matches, remember rightly, they delayed Argentina's kick-off time. So Argentina wanted to find out how many goals they needed um, to secure their place in the final. Because at the time it was a lot in '78. It was a lot different. Um, but yes, a lot different in those days before they changed the format. Obviously, the format changed a little bit in '82, but you basically had the group matches, and then you sort of like had the second round. Then it was like so on and final. But Argentina met Holland, a repeat of the '74 World Cup final, and it was played at the River Plate Stadium. And I remember when the teams came out, there was a lot of ticker tape. All the, and in the Argentinian team, you had a certain Mario Kempes, you had a Ricky Villa, and Osvaldo Ardiles. Obviously, after the World Cup, Ricky Villa and Osvaldo Ardiles did come over to UK and played for Tottenham, which was quite a good coup. But yes, very good. I say Argentina won the World Cup. Um, in on the European Cup, Liverpool, who won the European Cup in 1977, they made it through to the final, and it was played at Wembley, and they won the European Cup 1-0. A certain Kenny Dalglish, who basically replaced Kevin Keegan, so he scored the winner. So they won the European Cup 2 years on the trot. But '78 was definitely a turning point in British football. Nottingham Forest have now made it into Division One, and they won the title. They won the title, so that gave them a chance, possibly to They were going to play in the '78-'79 season of the European Cup. They also won the League Cup. They Where they beat Liverpool at Wembley. There'd been a lot of the snow. Obviously, it had fallen day before the final, so there was a lot of pitch clearing needed, and they went on to win the League Cup. They sort of went on to dominate the League Cup for quite a few years actually. They won it again in '78. No, they won it in '78. They won it again in '79, but unfortunately in 1980 they lost to Wolves 1-0. And the captain for Wolves that day was the great crazy horse himself, Emlyn Hughes. That's one trophy as a player he'd failed to win. So that was, Forest would become quite dominant. You had Nottingham Forest had some good players, Archie Gemmill, Gary Birtles, Peter Shilton in goal. They were quite a force to be reckoned with. They sort of dominated. Brian Clough obviously was their manager. On the music front, obviously I said about the Bee Gees, and they had hits from Saturday Night Fever and Staying Alive. Dallas first started in 1978, and that lasted for quite a few years. Obviously, you had the Generation Game. You had all the normal stuff that would be on a Saturday night. Obviously, Doctor Who. That would have been Tom Baker as a Doctor. But there were some good episodes there. Hold on a minute. Oh, back on the. You obviously had the Village People with YMCA and Macho Man. Yes, very enjoyable time there. Now going forward to Christmas 1978, obviously I was 10, and obviously the Star Wars film. Star Wars had a big what's the name, and I had a very nice present. It was called Starbird. It was made by MP Games. I still got it, and I will show you it. Give me a moment. And here we are. This is the Starbird. It still works. Let me just put it on. It might drown me out a little bit. It just shows you how noisy it is, and you go like that. So it's climbing up. And you do that, it goes down. To me, this was probably one of the best toys I could have had in '78. And of course, there's the old laser gun. I still have the box for it. I've only got one little bit missing. Surprisingly, 1978, it only cost £11, well, 12 quid in 1978. Having looked at the on the ad on YouTube. Unfortunately, I can't quite get it on here. I've tried, but I can't get it, unfortunately. But yeah, it was my main present for Christmas that year, 1978. I loved it. It's very clever. There's certain things that you can do. You can take certain things that you can take. You can take the front off, and then you can take that off, and it clips together. So you've got basically two ships. But if you're a fan of Fireball XL5, it looks like you've got a Fireball Junior there. I loved it. I've still got the box. I've got one little bit missing. But yes, there was one big news thing happened in '78. The Ashar was basically taken over. So he come along, and he fled. So you had the Ayatollah Khomeini and all stuff like that. He came to Provence. I know America had some really bad snow, big time. But yes, '78 was quite a good year. Anyway, to all my followers, I'd like to wish you a very happy new year and a prosperous one. And I'd like to say thank you for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Goodbye.